I've always thought to myself that if I just had the perfect tools, if I just had the perfect system, I'd finally be able to make more YouTube videos and build some sort of successful channel, right? So I did what any normal person with ADHD would do. I watched every single one of those best AI tools videos I could find on YouTube, and I downloaded all of them. And guess how many videos I ended up making? 0. Because here's the thing about productivity tools and ADHD brains. More tools doesn't mean you'll make more videos. It means you have to make more decisions, and more decisions means you keep burning out. So I spent months going around in circles trying every single AI tool I could find before I finally just stopped myself. I took a step back and I realized I only actually needed a few of them. 4 AI tools that each solve a specific ADHD problem for content creators. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are and how to use them. Before we talk about the tools, we need to talk about the problems for content creators with ADHD, because you're not lazy or bad at YouTube, despite what you might think. Your brain just has very specific obstacles that it has to overcome. The first one is task paralysis. This is what happens when you're staring at a blank page. You know you need to start, but nothing happens.
I can't do it.
Nearly half of adults with ADHD struggle with this creative block, so you're not alone. The second is time blindness. I cannot tell you how many times I've struggled with this myself, right? You sit down to do 20 minutes of research for your next video, and suddenly 2 hours have just flown by and you're sitting there watching Pokemon card openings. It's happened to all of us, guys, don't worry. The third is context switching. This is what happens every time you jump between different tasks. Your brain basically has to restart, and for an ADHD brain, it is absolutely exhausting. The fourth is perfectionism. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about here, right? You keep tweaking things and telling yourself it's not quite perfect yet, and then the video never actually gets uploaded because you've set yourself impossibly high standards for it. And if you are an ADHD creator trying to make YouTube videos without constantly burning out, I've actually put together a completely free toolkit for you. It's got ADHD friendly AI prompts that help with content creation and a simple Notion template to keep everything together all in one place. It's completely free, links down below. All right, so let's talk about the tools. So the first tool on my list is probably my favorite, and it's the foundation of my entire content creation system, and that is Claude. So inside Claude, I've gone ahead and built 4 separate projects. A project is basically a dedicated space designed for one particular task. So each project has its own custom set of instructions. It knows my name, it knows all of my goals with this YouTube channel, it knows what its job specifically is, and it has as much context as it could possibly need about me, my YouTube channel, and my target audience. So every time I open up one of these projects, I'm not starting from scratch. I've got one called My Idea Ignition. So this helps me to come up with the best video ideas for my channel. I've got one called Title Tactician for the best video titles. I've got one called My Thumbnail Thinker, which comes up with the best free thumbnail ideas for my videos so I can do some A/B testing. And my favorite one is called Script Sculptor, which basically helps me create script outlines for my videos. And I didn't actually know this until I was doing the research for this video, but CHAD, which stands for the Children and Adults with ADHD organization, they actually specifically recommend Claude for simplifying decision making and reducing cognitive load. And when I read that, it clicked up here. Like, that's exactly why I use Claude projects, and that's exactly what it does for me. So that's the thinking layer, right? That's the brain of the system. But the next tool handles a completely different problem, the research rabbit hole. So the second tool I use is called Perplexity, and it is one of the best AI tools out there for data and research. And this one is specifically helpful for ADHD brains that struggle with time blindness. So instead of opening up 12 new tabs and wasting hours going down research rabbit holes, Perplexity can do all the research for you in less than 5 minutes. It also gives you a real-time web search with sources, and they're all combined together into a clear, definitive answer. So you basically get all the data and research you could possibly need. And the sources are actually a really important detail for ADHD brains, because one of the things that keeps us in this research spiral is second guessing, right? You're thinking, is this actually true? Like, is this up-to-date information?
Tell me!
Perplexity stops that problem because because it has all of the information as up to date as possible and gives you the sources from which it's got the information from. So once I have the video idea, I've come up with the title, I've made the thumbnails, I'll ask Perplexity to do deep research on the video topic. I can then just download that as a PDF, have a read through it, and hand it over to Claude, and then ask Claude to create my script outline based on the research. Now we've got to actually film the video like I'm doing now and edit, and that's where most ADHD creators fall apart. Why? But this next tool has been specifically designed to help fix that problem. The next tool on my list is Descript, and this may genuinely be one of the most helpful tools I've ever used. Throughout my 9 years on YouTube, I've tried so many different video editors. I started with Premiere Pro when I had my Pokemon card channel. I've tried Filmora. I've even tried something called Power Director 365, but none of them even come close to Descript, honestly. And here's why. In Descript, you edit your videos by editing the transcript. So if you delete a word from the text, it disappears from the video. It's basically like editing a Word document. You don't need to scrub through footage. You don't need to find the exact frame you're looking for. You just read the transcript and cut what doesn't work. The amount of time this video editor has saved me is insane. And there's also a lot less to think about when editing, so I'm not completely burnt out after every edit. Descript also has tons of helpful AI features like the filler words removals, so every single R and just disappears in one click. And the studio sound feature is actually ridiculous. One click turns your audio into something that sounds like you recorded it in a proper studio. Obviously you want to aim for the best audio quality possible when filming, but in case of background noise or construction or whatever, this studio sound feature is just a lifesaver. But the most important thing Descript does for my ADHD brain is that it minimizes the amount of decisions I actually have to make about what to keep in and what to cut from the video. It helps me keep the core message of my video while cutting all the fluff. And knowing that helps me to stay in a good flow while I'm filming, like hopefully I'm doing now, because I'm not worrying about the editing. I'm just talking because I know Descript is going to turn it into a good video regardless if I'm terrible on camera or not, but hopefully I'm not terrible. So we've gone over the tools I use to create, research, film and edit, but there's one more problem: knowing what to make in the first place and knowing whether it's actually going to reach my audience. That's where this final tool comes in. The fourth and final tool on my list is VidIQ, and this one solves two very specific ADHD problems: idea paralysis and the dopamine gap after you publish. The thing that I use VidIQ for the most is outlier research. So it helps me find proven video ideas in my specific niche that have already performed well, so I'm not guessing and I'm not starting from a blank page either. This is how my entire content creation process starts. I'll open up VidIQ, I will go to the outlier research section, and I'll spend 20 to 30 minutes just having a look through and finding anything that has been successful in the ADHD, AI tools or content creation spaces. I'll have a look through everything and add any potential ideas to a document I have in Notion, literally just called Ideas for YouTube Videos. Then I take those ideas and I give them to my idea ignition project in Claude, and suddenly my entire ideation system is basically on autopilot. I use VidIQ to do the research, I use Claude to pick the best ideas, and once I've actually filmed and finished editing the video, when I go to upload, VidIQ analyzes everything and gives me an SEO score out of 100, I think it is. So it helps me make sure my titles, thumbnails and descriptions actually help me to reach as many people as possible. For a brain that struggles to feel rewarded by like delayed results, especially of YouTube, that instant feedback loop matters a lot more than it sounds. So VidIQ, I use it at the very start and very end of my content creation process. So here's what my full content system looks like in practice, because I want you to see how these four tools actually work together. VidIQ I use for the outlier research, that gives me the proven video ideas. I then pass these over to my idea ignition in Claude. In about 30 minutes or so, I've got 3 solid video ideas locked in. Then I use my title tactician to come up with the best titles and my thumbnail thinker to come up with the best thumbnail ideas. And it also walks me through how I make those thumbnails in Canva. I use Perplexity to do deep research. It takes less than 5 minutes. Once I've got that, I'll download it as a PDF. I will then hand it back to Claude, and that turns everything into a proper script outline. I'll then go through that script outline outline and just make sure everything makes sense before I film the video, right? I'll then film 3 videos back to back. I think 3 is kind of like the middle spot for me where I can make the most of my filming time but not feel overwhelmed. I then edit those videos in Descript. I use VidIQ to help me maximize my SEO, and I upload the video to YouTube. It takes about 4 hours total per video, and that's not because I'm a superhuman. It's because each tool is designed for one specific job, and they all work together in one simple system that I've built for myself. There's no decision fatigue, there's no context switching, no rabbit holes, just pure focus on content creation. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. You don't need 20 different AI tools before you start making YouTube videos. You really don't. You just need a few that actually work with your ADHD instead of against it. And more importantly, you need a system that ties everything together and makes it as simple as possible for you to make YouTube videos. And it doesn't even have to be the 4 tools I've mentioned in this video. I'm just sharing what works for me, what I've kind of built for myself. But if you are interested, then, you know, go ahead and give those tools a try and see if they help at all. But just start with one tool, master that tool, and then add the next until you build a system that works for you. And guys, if you found this video helpful at all, then you might like to check out this video next, where I talk a bit more about how I use Claude to help me create my YouTube videos.